Hi everyone, I'm Lindsay McCracken and I'm presenting Module 5, Understanding My Community, which is the Bonner Springs-Edwardsville School District. I focused mainly on Bonner Springs. Our school district is actually comprised of two communities, Bonner Springs and Edwardsville, but primarily our students come from the Bonner Springs area. And I put in touches about Edwardsville because really, truly, we're kind of one city. There's hard differentiation between where one begins and one ends in terms of people's minds. And so really we go together, but our city median income and things like that might be a little bit different. In terms of Bonner Springs, we are one of the oldest cities in Kansas. It was established originally as a trading post called Four Houses. The name was changed to Tiblo to honor Henry Tiblo, who was a Delaware Indian that operated the ferry across the Kansas River. And then in the 1880s or 90s, it was renamed Bonner Springs. Obviously, we were once a home to a lot of agriculture and trade, like a lot of towns in Kansas. But now we're home to a little, kind of sales or industry that's a little bit different than that. And we're a very family-friendly, close-knit community of over 7,000 people. One really cool thing that I love about our community is that our students get to know each other as they grow up. So even if they don't go to the same elementary school, they maybe have played on the same soccer team or done something together with the Parks and Rec department. And so they have a relationship before they begin sixth grade together. And I think that that's very cool. I think that it's very unique that kids get to kind of know each other pre-K through 12, or in some cases K through 12. We're a growing community and we have many attractions. We recently have a zip line opportunity, and we have the amphitheater and lots of other entertainment, and we have renovated the downtown in Bonner Springs, so lots of people are opening up little shops and things, and that's been very cool to see as well. Tiblo Days and Marble Days are our large community events that we put on in Bonner Springs, and Tiblo Days especially in conjunction with the Edwardsville. And Bonner Springs is a very proud community where people look out for one another. We have a popular Parks and Rec department, and they work very hard at engaging families in community activities, whether it be a sport or a band concert that happens every Friday during the summers, or different gatherings throughout the year. USD 204, as I mentioned, is comprised of the Bonner Springs and Edwardsville communities, and I think that overall we handle change in our community in a positive way. People want to do what is best for our community, and both cities work hard to get public opinion before they make any major changes. And I think that that helps, that they work hard beforehand to get buy-in from community members, and so the change isn't perceived as such a negative thing. 3 years ago, we went through a mascot restructuring process so that instead of having 3 elementary school mascots and then a middle school mascot and then a high school mascot, students now have the same mascot K-12. And that's been a really prideful moment for a lot of families, as many of our parents grew up in Bonner Springs and now send their kids to our schools. The community recently voted to pass a bond issue that will improve our school facilities and programs, and that was a community effort as well, having had committees that worked together to go door to door to explain the bond issue and having meetings about it. And it just kind of proves how invested people are in our school district. School board members are also very invested in our community, and they advocate for policy and curriculum changes that are best for students. And many of our school board members also grew up in the Bonner Springs-Edwardsville area. And so that gives them kind of, I think, a little extra investment when it's something you've known your entire life. We have a pretty diverse population in terms of income within the two communities, and we have white and blue collar workers. The average age is 37 years old. Overall, our school district has a 68% free and reduced lunch rate. Both communities are growing in population and in employment opportunities. I would say Bonner Springs a little bit more so in population than Edwardsville. Edwardsville is the home to many warehouses and distribution centers. And so that obviously provides a lot of job growth as people are building warehouses and distribution centers currently now. And the racial distribution of the school district, as kids identify, is 64% white, 8% black, 21% Hispanic, and 7% other. And at the secondary level, we have 19% of our student population on an IEP. For communication channels, each school has a school website, and then we also have our district website. Schools have their own Facebook page, and all the principals have a Twitter account as well. And this really helps with communicating positive things that our students and our schools are doing. Most programs within our district have their own Twitter or Facebook page as well. And as a parent, I love this. I love that I get to see what my kids are doing in school, and I love that I get kind of a glimpse into their day on occasion. Some teachers also use a class Facebook page, and that's something that I do, and I've had parents give me very positive feedback on that as well. We also have Skyward announcements. We can do the calls that go home to each student when necessary, or do the mass emails when necessary. Unfortunately, we lost our local newspaper within the last few years, and that's presented kind of a challenge with getting our public information out to parents in the community. But in light of that, we've stepped up our social media presence. People primarily get their news and notifications via email and social media pages, and most parents have an account that's linked to their phone, and so I think they do it that way because it's easy. We have a growing ESL population. We have an ESL program at each school, and we have translation opportunities for things that need to be sent home to parents or when we need to have a parent meeting. And then within one of our elementary schools, we have a family whose parents are deaf, and so we have a translator at school events for this ASL family. For community groups, we have a wide variety, truly. Within our schools, we have athletic teams, fine arts teams, Project X, which is a volunteer, just solely interest-based choir group, and they are amazing. And we have many student interest groups, both at the elementary and at the secondary level. We have booster clubs, an education foundation, parent-teacher organizations, the diversity group, parks and recreation opportunities. We have the YMCA, United Way, school board, Lions Club, Big Brothers Big Sisters, and this is both through the actual Big Brothers Big Sisters program, and then we also have a version within our high school and our middle school where they provide a mentoring program to middle school students. We have an amazing unified sports program. We have a drug and alcohol advisory committee that provides funds to prevent and educate about drug and alcohol issues. We have a city council. We have a lot of different committees such as Bonner Beautiful, tourism, the library committee. We have the NAACP, the Rotary Club, the Kiwanis Club, and the Senior Project Committee that involves community members. And one thing just to note, I don't think we have any problem committees within our district at all. One interesting piece of history is that the NAACP filed a complaint a few years ago against teaching To Kill a Mockingbird, and so now that's a banned book in our district. In terms of leadership, I kind of divided up between the city and the school. So in Bonner Springs, our mayor is Jeff Harrington, and then we have our city council members. In the school district, we have our superintendent, Mr. Brungart, we have the Board of Education members, and then school administration, and you'll see that each school has their own administrators. And at the bottom is a picture of them doing the polar plunge a couple of years ago. So they do activities together as administrators as well. Our community leaders' characteristics. A lot of our school and or community leaders have lived in Bonner Springs or Edwardsville their entire lives. And so they're very invested in doing what's best for our community, what's best for our school district, and what's best for our students. I think that one thing to note, and that really speaks to our community and our district, is that our school board president moved away, got married, and then moved back to our district upon having kids, as he couldn't imagine raising them in any other community or within any other schools. And so that really speaks strongly to how much people value what we're doing in Bonner Springs Edwardsville School District. Our community and school leaders have a strong positive presence. I think primarily they're transformative leaders. One thing that's very, I think, helpful in developing that presence is the ones who live here or very near to here attend community events on a regular basis. And so parents see them out, kids see them out, and it just kind of develops those close community or school bonds. Our unemployment rate in Bonner Springs is 5.6%. The median income is $56,278. We have a 10.4% poverty status rate. Employment is currently in a growth status, growing at 1.59%. The most common jobs within Bonner Springs are administrative, sales, and material moving. The median house cost is $145,000. And then we have a 60-40 approximate own-to-rent ratio. For the political structure, we have a mayor and a city council that are elected, but we're also part of the Wyandotte County Unified Government. So though we have our own elected officials, we're part of the WCUG as well. We do have our own police force, but our fire department is 100% volunteer. Our local tax dollars are invested back into our schools, and we recently passed a bond issue with a 0% tax increase that will improve our facilities and programs within our schools. Our government officials are very invested in what we're doing in school. They're constantly advocating for programs that will benefit our students, and really, truly, our city council, our mayor, our police department. These people have a positive presence, not just in our community, but in our schools as well. Um, we do have some social tensions. I think racial issues have been low, but they exist. Because of this, we started a diversity committee at the high school, and we'll talk a little bit more about that later. We don't have a lot of public or overt gang activity, but we do have drug issues within our communities, and that goes for Bonner Springs and Edwardsville. Cliques exist. I would say they're primarily based on socioeconomic status and on diverse interests, or it could be classified maybe as an intolerance issue. And this is another issue that's being targeted now with the diversity committee. I think the causes that primarily relate to any social tensions or any racial tensions are differences in beliefs, in religion, in race, in social status. And then again, back to that idea that there are certain intolerances that have been passed down through families. And so it's a matter of kind of educating kids on having these open opinions instead of necessarily what you grew up with. These are some extra sources of information on our school district. We have the district website. Each school has their own website. Our BOE meeting minutes are public and they're publicized there. The Bonner Springs website, and then the Bonner Springs Edwardsville Chamber of Commerce website as well. For power structures, obviously we start with the Kansas governor, Sam Brownback, and then the Kansas legislature and the Kansas Supreme Court. Below them would be the Kansas State Board of Education, and our representative in District 1 is Janet Waugh. She's an amazing lady that I've had the opportunity to meet on a couple of occasions through my Kansas Teacher of the Year experience. And I just can't say enough about her and how she advocates for what we're doing in our schools. Next would be the Kansas Commissioner of Education, Randy Watson, who I've met both through my KTOY experience and through my work with KSDE on the Standards Committee and VCOPs. And he's an amazing, transformative, big picture leader, and I really appreciate that about him. From there, we go to our USD 204 school board, Superintendent Dan Brungart, and then district level support, our directories of elementary, secondary education. And then obviously from there, we would go to our building level principals, administrators. We do have some multicultural issues within our school that just aren't always publicized. Based on school and community surveys, a need was discovered to help kids deal with issues of diversity and tolerance relating to race. We created a diversity committee that now meets with other schools, other students, and committees to talk about diversity, to debunk myths and stereotypes, and to discuss the real issues behind daily occurrences for them as students of color. And the diversity committee now includes more than just racial issues. It includes other issues that students experience as well. In terms of power structure, our superintendent oversees all building principals, but trusts them with decisions in regard to discipline, to student issues, and basically building level issues. Decisions for our schools and for our school districts are made by all stakeholders. One thing that our school and our district and our community is very great about is getting that input from community members so that each stakeholder feels like they have a voice. And we have an active and involved Board of Education. We're fortunate enough to have an SRO at the middle school and at the high school, and they work to educate students, to advocate for what kids need, and when necessary to intervene in situations. We work very closely with our local police department on issues of school safety and even on discipline or drug-related issues when necessary. In terms of measuring public opinion, surveys are conducted to gauge public opinion. We've had town forums and town meetings where the future of our schools has been discussed. And another thing that's always discussed there is what will benefit our students the most. So there's a big concern or a big need to understand what our students need. And our community members and our education stakeholders are very receptive of that, which is really positive. Citizens are also welcome to come and speak at our Board of Education meetings, and their opinions are taken seriously, as are their concerns. The last meeting that I was at, a man brought to attention the fact that a certain person who'd worked in the school district for a very long time had passed away. And he thought it'd be a great idea to name something in the district after her. And shortly thereafter, one of our libraries was named in her honor. Public opinion surveys are conducted. They conduct them pretty regularly within our schools and in community. I've primarily seen them online, but we've also had forums, etc., to discuss any issues that come up. Schools also will hand out a written survey at conferences, and we have an open door policy in our district. Parents and community members are always welcome to bring their comments and their issues to the attention of our staff at all times. Hope you've gotten something great about the Bonner Springs Edwardsville School District and that I've presented all of the information. So thanks very much for listening.